Hi, and welcome back to Wicked Wands Tarot. My name is Carmen, and today we've got a reading for you about somebody who is running away, going elsewhere, feeling like they can't stay where everybody else is congregating. So, this could be someone who's running out of the bar or someone who's running away to their cabin. We have someone hiding because this secret, the High Priestess, is being exposed with the sun. So there's something they thought that they would be able to keep quiet or on the DL. And just kidding, it's not. Now everybody is talking about it. So a little bit of like an isolationist energy here. Let's call in spirit with a little bit of wind chanting. And I hope you're having a good day so far. If you're interested in a personal reading, I would love to do one for you. My email address is wickedwandstarot@gmail.com. It's in the description box for you, as is additional information on how to become a member, because I know you want more content. Hello, Illuminati. Hello, Key Controller. Hey, Dana. What's going on? Also, there's a new feature called Hyping. And if you have the ability to hype my video, you would see it next to the comments. And I would greatly appreciate your doing so. Let's dive in with the Pulp Tarot. What's up, famous Seamus? What else do we have? Three of Swords, Four of Pentacles in the reverse, 10 of Cups. So there's been some sort of scandal or chatter about a heartbreaking situation in a home. So this could be a married couple going through troubles. This could be, we don't know how to handle our children. But there's a lot of talk about whether or not everyone is okay. Because it does feel like somebody has maybe stepped out on their responsibilities or their obligations. It could be that we have someone being like called out for, stepping out on like a pregnant wife or a hardworking husband. I don't know. There seems to be a lot of judgment already on one side in particular. Hello, Stephen. How are you doing? Strength in the reverse and Temperance in the reverse. Yeah, this is someone I feel like this is a married individual or someone in a very serious relationship, possibly with children. And there's a lot of talk happening about whether or not this person gave into temptation and did something that everybody wants to talk about. So probably a side piece. Right? Two of Wands in the reverse. Ace of Wands in the reverse. Okay. I think we have someone who is pretty confident they were going to be engaging in this like affair or this side relationship for a decent amount of time. Maybe they already had been spending a lot of time together, but this seems to me that something that they hadn't really considered. Like, what do we do if someone finds out? What do we say? And are we like trying to lie, or are we just going to be honest? So I do feel like we have two people who are engaging in this affair that have different answers to the same question because they haven't really talked through how they would handle this situation. Five of Cups, King of Pentacles in the reverse, Eight of Swords in the reverse. So even though this is coming through as a King of Pentacles in the reverse, just a little reminder that we don't take too much from the gender in tarot because this is energy, not physicality. But we have somebody who has been unfaithful. They are now in this Five of Cups, mostly because they've been caught, maybe also because they feel a little bit bad. But with the Eight of Swords in the reverse, there's also some sense of relief. Like, now I don't have to be sneaking around. The stress was starting to get to me. Now they don't have to really pretend to care about that, right? Hello, Sandine. How are you doing? Hello, Laura. How's it going? We have the Lovers, the Page of Swords, and Judgment. So, yeah, there's someone else here, and everybody figures it out. So it could be there was a social media whoops kind of thing where maybe someone uploaded a picture they shouldn't have. There could also be someone who commented something that they shouldn't have. There's a decision here, and it feels to me like someone's kind of like this might cause some trouble, but I don't know if I care. They may have been a little bit drunk when this happened, but I do think that there's something here that someone said or posted or did on social media that got people a little bit more interested in what was going on with this. Like, we might have to dig a little bit into this, find out what happened. This is the situations deck. What else do we have? Unconditional love, genuine, certain love, recalling, reminiscing, memories, and returning. Settlement, agreement, compromise, and desire. Oh. Well, that's interesting. This feels to me like, how do I say this? This kind of feels to me like at one point this might have been a party for three. Is that an elegant way to say that? And there may have been an agreement or a promise that, this was just going to happen when all three of us were here. And then there's someone else who doesn't seem to care about that. So basically, I feel like this could be an open relationship. This could be someone who was like, hey, for your birthday, we're going to have a little bit of fun. And then someone beyond the birthday kept having fun. You know what I mean? Because I do feel like there's a very substantial, loving relationship. And they have a lot of good memories with this person. But it's like they made an agreement to have a little bit of fun outside of their connection, outside of their relationship. But whatever agreement was made or parameters were set, somebody went beyond those. Give an inch and they take 7. Anyone laughing out there? Hello, Grindhard. How are you doing? Hello, Kylie. Oh, you're so welcome. I hope you're having a good day. Nightlife, synchronicities, and drastic, extreme, harsh cutoff. So there's a nightlife here. Oh, thank you, hon. How you doing up, Echelon? Hello, Matt. Phrasing indeed. It's too early in the morning for the filter, apparently. We have nightlife. Somebody who is out enjoying themselves and they decide to take a risk, even though they know at this crossroads, they know this could be a problem, right? The agreement that I have with my partner is XYZ, and I feel like it's okay if I go for BCD. Those are just 3 different letters that rhymed. That's why I chose them, but have fun with that. And then we have this drastic cutoff. So it's like, okay, so you went further than we agreed, or you did something that you knew was going to upset me, but you did it anyways. So that's interesting to know. That's suspicious. This is the mystical cat. Volunteers are for coffee. That's funny. What else do we have? We have the 8 of Fire, which is the 8 of Wands. Ooh, and the 8 of Earth. So I've only pulled 2 cards and I've got 2 8s. and grace in the reverse, which is just like temperance in the reverse. So yeah, this could be someone who like took a day off of work and didn't tell their partner that they were going to go hang out with someone else. This could be someone who accidentally is called out because of a social media post. It's like when you call in sick and then think it's still okay to like post that you're, at the beach or whatever. I'm sure there's plenty of people who have done that and thought that there would be no consequences, but then they end up losing their job, right? Sorry, I have to like turn up the brightness on my computer. So things are not right. Things do not line up the way that they're supposed to. And because of that detail, Page of Swords, because of somebody's post or because of somebody's comment, we have ability to piece together the truth of what really happened. And this upsets a partner. Sky Queen or the Queen of Swords in the reverse. Like, there's already a mad cat, but you put it in the reverse. This is bad. I think we have somebody who says, I am concerned about this detail or this social media post. I want to see what's going on with my partner if they think I'm not looking. So they might hire a private detective. They might ask a friend to go check out, the local bars or the dating apps. But there's an action here that's taken. And I do feel like there's someone else who's involved. And with the Five of Sky or Five of Swords, I think we have that secret being exposed. Five of Earth or Five of Pentacles in the reverse. Somebody who went back for seconds. Somebody who went back where they weren't supposed to go. Hanging out with someone that they promised they'd stop talking to. Could be because of locating where a person's car was or their phone. Sea Queen or Queen of Cups in the reverse. And the Two of Earth or Two of Pentacles in the reverse. So we have someone that's basically saying, well, I thought we were just going to like have a little bit of fun for the anniversary or whatever, but now you've ruined it. Now there's chaos and instability, and I don't feel like I can trust you. This feels to me like someone who's literally falling out of love with their partner because they thought that they had communicated very clearly what the boundaries were, and those boundaries were not respected. You could have someone who travels for work or somebody who found the time to travel somebody or somewhere where they weren't supposed to be. But I definitely feel like location is important here in terms of someone's secret being exposed. Four of Swords or Four of Sky in the reverse. I think this is an old wound being reopened. Sky Tom or Knight of Swords in the reverse. Impulsive behavior. I think the person who discovers there's been infidelity here is very quick to act and gets all of their things into a nice little suitcase and either tosses someone out or they leave. But this is a quick response like, no, that is not what we agreed on. And since you didn't want to be respectful of what we had agreed upon, I'm going to let you think about it by yourself. I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to be waiting for you to figure it out. I'm going to be gone. Toodaloo. That's fair, Kylie. Hey, Renee. Oh, there's so much tea. I know. Ooh, Lord. I hope you find that. Are they able to just reissue another one in that circumstance? What else do we have? Main character. There is no question as to why you were chosen. There's no question as to why you were chosen for leadership on this mission. You know the value of being fierce in all pursuits, be that loyalty and compassion or competence and tenacity, a well-rounded warrior. So the person I'm reading for, this main character, is the person who's ending a relationship, the person who's saying, no, you were not being respectful, and I'm not going to sit around and like listen to your promises because I know that they are empty promises. I feel like this is someone who did something again, right? Or broke a rule or broke a trust again. We have mini game. We get it. This is a difficult part of the game, and you don't want to think about the main story. It happens. Remember, though, it might only be your thoughts that are a barrier here. You probably need to give yourself more credit. So I do think whoever is this, I found out about infidelity individual, they're looking at this as just like another lesson that they've learned, realizing it's not really that great, but it is an important part of their life. I think this is someone who's saying, yeah, this really sucks, but I'm going to learn from it and I'm going to make a change. Local co-op. It's easiest to work together when we can collaborate on the physical plane. Working with others can be a means to growth and progress for everyone in the party as long as we all share a vision. So it does feel to me like there's a close friend or maybe even a sibling that says, hey, I know you're going through it. We'll just come on over here. We'll like figure this out. We can find you a new place, all of the things, but I don't want you stressing out right now. Character creator. You have all of the tools you need to create your vision. Nobody can tell you who you are meant to be. Do not let the past hold on to or hold you to any former version of yourself. To level up is to change. So as this relationship ends, as they start to build this new chapter for themselves, the Queen of Swords individual, the Chariot, this person is able to see that there are things that maybe don't really suit them anymore. I was a part of the golf league because you wanted me to be, and now I've decided I would rather play rugby. Like there's shifts and changes that are enabled or kind of made possible because of this end or change. It's true. All right, this is the Wild Reflections. Another Strength card in the reverse. So this is the person who gave in to temptation. King of Wands. Knight of Cups in the reverse. Now we have someone throwing a bit of a temper tantrum or a pity party for themselves because they didn't think there would be consequences for their actions. They gave in to temptation and they wanted to be able to just say, oh, well, I was drunk, or, oh, everybody else was out here doing this. Well, that's cool. But are you saying you don't know how to make your own decisions? What are we really saying here? When we talk about the extenuating circumstances and the other people making bad decisions, are we saying you lack self-control? Because that's what it sounds like. Strength in the reverse, giving in a temptation, lack of self-control. Just by putting a name to what deficiency you possess in this relationship doesn't mean that I'm going to forgive you for it, right? Sorry to be so harsh, but this is somebody who's like, oh, what do you mean consequences for my decisions? I don't want those. Ew, take it back. I'm sorry, are you 11? They made a choice. It was very it's not just I happen to fall into this opportunity or this bad decision. I see them traveling somewhere. So it's I made a choice and then I'm driving there. Okay, I don't feel bad. Temperance in the reverse. You knew it would cause a problem. You knew this would cause a fight. Therefore, what are you saying you expected? You wanted to be like, oh my gosh, a horrible thing happened. But you know what? I'm pretty sure that my partner doesn't want any consequences. I'm pretty sure they would be really, really upset if I got mad at them over something that they did. So why don't I just look the other way? Or not. Because in reality, this is somebody who has made a choice that they knew was not a good choice, that they knew would hurt their partner. And they did it because temptation was more important to them than self-control. So whoever you are, you've made the choice to not put up with this person's BS anymore. And they are so sad about it. That's me not feeling bad for them. Look, we make choices. When we make choices, we have to understand that there are paths that appear and paths that disappear. This is somebody who knowingly made a decision, that they knew was a risk that could ruin a relationship that meant a lot to them, but they did it anyways. That is you accepting your fate when you keep moving down that path, even though you know it's problematic. And I would also say, if it seems like I'm heartless right now, another reason that I don't really feel bad is because sometimes we have to go through this kind of thing before we become our best selves. So, am I coming across as judgy? Perhaps, but I'm also excited for you because whoever this person is that stepped out on the relationship, you have a beautiful opportunity right now to work on the things that got you here, to learn a lesson that you had wanted to avoid learning. So I'm excited for you to actually make a different choice this time, right? But for the Queen of Swords energy that is walking away, I'm also proud of them because they're saying, nah, we talked about it. We had an agreement, and you decided that agreement didn't matter. Now, maybe it was an open relationship thing. Maybe it was just a, like anniversary celebration. I'm not going to try to get too much into that, but it's about having known exactly what the rules were and then deciding to break them anyways. Ace of Wands in the reverse, 10 of Pentacles and 6 of Pentacles in the reverse. This person may be having to look at a complete change of their lifestyle in terms of the money that they have if they're no longer in this relationship. In other words, their partner may have been contributing more than they are or were. So as far as the financials, this seems to be a bit of a predicament for the person who made the risky choice. This King of Wands is realizing that it's quite the cost for the choice that they made. King of Swords, Judgment in the reverse, and the Empress. So even though we have a very compassionate, loving individual, this is somebody who can also be quite calculated or logical. This is why we don't pay too much close attention to that gender, right? Because we have the King of Swords and the Empress. This is the same individual. They're saying sometimes I have to look at things for what they really are and not let my emotions cloud my judgment. That is what they're doing. They're saying, I know it would be easy to look the other way or to pretend this didn't hurt me. But the reality is I've lost my ability to trust you. And what kind of relationship can you have with somebody that you don't trust? Did I say hello to King the Eagle? What's up, King the Eagle? So we have flow, breath, effortless, glide, easy, and calm, and mystery, silence, captivating, secrets, high priestess, mystic, and hidden. So whatever has been kept hidden or whatever someone has been trying to keep on the down low, this is now out and about. People are talking about it. There are still some elements that need to be, cleared up, I suppose, or will be. But at the end of the day, we have somebody who's saying, this is not the type of energy I want to be around. I feel like you've got a lot that you need to work on, and that's not my responsibility. Seeking, soul searching, treasures, uncover, dormant gifts and answers. So for both of these individuals, there is an opportunity to find out more about themselves and about what they want for their future. So yes, I'm proud of the individual who resonates with this Chariot energy, right? They're walking away from a relationship where somebody gave into temptation and realizing that those rules or those standards that they had set were important, right? So they are ascending to a different level. That love life is going to change for them, and also the relationship they have with themselves. And then justice is here because we have karma. If somebody was not well-intentioned towards a relationship that had unconditional love, that's something that you can risk, right? That you can potentially lose. So the consequences here are deserved. All right, this is the Love Oracle. What else do we have? Heart fog, mixed signals, blocked emotions, messed up, and escaping, avoiding, blocking, pushing away. Perspective, better off, happiness, and clear headspace. So this Chariot individual is realizing that walking away from the relationship has helped them to see things more clearly. And I think also cleared up that they had been kind of looking the other way with some of the other behaviors with this individual they were dating or married to. Confusion. Look at how similar these cards are. Uncertain, unclear, unsure. You know, there's something really comforting in knowing exactly what's going to happen over the next week in your life, right? There's also something really magical about knowing that you have the next 7 days to do whatever you want with, right? So we have somebody that is appreciating that sometimes life takes a different turn. Sometimes there's a pivot in your path that you didn't really anticipate, but it might be for the best. I think we have somebody that is basically saying, you know, I really wanted this relationship to work, but if I found out the truth of how I was being treated, I need to make sure I make the right decision with that information in mind. So a very cool head. We have intimacy, bonding, sensual, and confiding. So part of the reason there's an end to this relationship is because there may have been some like emotional cheating or some connection here that had been expressly forbidden, or hey, if you talk to this person, it has to be with me involved as well. And that was not respected. So as a result of whatever barriers were, you know, broken or promises were broken, we have this Chariot individual deciding, I think it's best if I pull back and just like, you know, focus on myself because you don't seem to respect the agreement that we had or the, you know, relationship that we were building. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate that. Hey, Corey, how are you doing? Let's get a few more. We'll go with the signs of the times. What else do we have? Bullseye, focus, number 40. So now that there is some clarity regarding the relationship, it does feel to me that the Chariot has kind of sharpened their focus or readjusted it perhaps. This feels like someone who's saying, I'm going to take a pivot in my career, or I'm going to write that book that I always wanted to, or I'm going to take this opportunity and move to the beach because I always had to stay in the middle of the city center because of who I married or who I was in a relationship with. This is someone who's like, well, you know what? Now I can do what I want. That's kind of cool. So a little bit of independence and a sense of I can build my own stability. I can build my own sense of like happy home, right? But there's boundaries here that are being established in between the two people that were in that relationship because, of course, there is an ending happening. So. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I love you all. Thank you for the likes and the subscribes and the hypes. And I will see you on the next reading. Toodles.